right, Coach. Last scrimmage before the spring game, how'd it go out there?
It was good. First thing I want to say is it was a good Friday, and obviously there's a reason we're here on a Good Friday. And let's not remember let's remember the sacrifice that was made for all of us, and let's keep the faith and love there, and the forgiveness there within our homes and within our daily life. And we're talking right now in our springs about building players, and the most important thing of the team is each player, but the most important thing to each player is the team. And we got to make sure we continue to build the team, not only for today, but for where we want to be August 28th and accomplishing our goals, what we want to do next fall. Yeah, spring is so big, but we can't focus on our performance today. It's just a building block into where we're getting to next spring or next fall. And whether it's August 28th, or whether that's for the home opener in Dowdy the next week versus Campbell, or whether that's when BYU comes to town, or when that's when the American Conference champions Army comes to town, or Memphis, or go to Delane. So we got to be building on that. And like I told our players, it takes everybody. It's going to take all of us to get that job done, every single one of them. And we got to focus on that and doing their part. And that's coaches, that's players, that's trainers, that's nutritionists, that's admin, whoever it may be, pulling in the same direction. And we talk about in our locker room, it takes everybody. And a big piece of that and everybody right now is our fans and our support there. And ticket sales goes into rev share. All those things come together to help us be successful in the future and put the type of team we want together and put the brand we want together to go win games. And we can't sit around and wait till next fall to make that happen. We got to make sure we don't let a day pass that we're not letting go by, that we're finding a way to get better and go attack next fall. So I thought we did that today. Thought we may see some good progress out of some guys. Got some young guys out there, but we cleaned up our penalties compared to last week, and we got it going the right way. And we got one more week of spring ball, so excited for the spring game next week. Saturday, April 26th at noon, so invite everybody out. Should be a good one.
Do you know what the format's going to be for the spring game yet?
We're going to try to divide up the best we can and play a game. We should have enough depth to do that, and it may be some limited situations or some scenarios we kind of let the clock run, but we'll divide up and play the game the best we can. So.
What did you like today? What did you not like watching the scrimmage?
Yeah, I thought, the energy is really good, and I thought on both sides of the football, I saw the leadership from guys stepping up on both sides of the football. I saw guys talking to each other, hey, let's get this thing going, big drive here, and understand the scenarios of the game, whether it was a 4-down sequencing area, whether it was, hey, we got them sudden change or backed up, or the 2-minute, 4-minute scenario we did there. I just thought like our football IQ is progressing. Obviously, we got some young quarterbacks out there, and a little slow there with some things, but I thought, hey, I saw some flashes there too offensively as well. So overall, I thought we continue to make progress and like where we're going.
How many reps is Caden getting right now, and how hard is it to not give him more?
Yeah, it's tough because you want to put him out there and be at full speed with the offense, but you also know like he's been limited all spring, and he's been able to do some things one-on-one and 7-on-7 situations, but starting and finally working him into 11-on-11 situations. But at the same time, you want to be very cautious that you don't get banged up going in the summer and miss time in the summer. So you want to keep him healthy. And I just told our players that, and I grabbed London too. It's like the best thing we can do is have you healthy for August 28th. You going and having a great performance today and getting hurt doesn't really help us August 28th. So we got to make sure we stay healthy, but get our work in and get the progress in that we need to get in.
Outside of Caden, what have the other quarterbacks shown you as far as trying to replace Jake's role here?
I think Chasten Ditto's doing a really good job. He's a young guy. You can tell he's young, but he's very talented, and he's going to be a good player in the future. We just got to, drinking through a fire hose right now for him. But he's learning the offense, and we got enough guys around him that'll make their jobs easier as well.
We talked to the coordinators on Tuesday, and they said most of the install is done for the spring. Do the young guys and the new guys, they seem like they're settling in a little more now that's more consistent with install?
I thought for the first time today, especially defensively, we quit thinking and quit, we were lined up. We had 11 sets of cleats in the ground, and we're ready to play. And we weren't, running around worried about the install. And that's what happens, And the other thing that happens late in the spring or late in preseason camp is the defense knows exactly what the offense is going to do because they face the same opponent for 13 straight days or 12 straight days. So some of that's catching up a little bit. But, next week I'm sure Coach Baker and the offense will have some wrinkles for the defense and should be an exciting spring game.
I know you're up against it roster limit-wise right now, but with Jake's departure, do you want to add a quarterback, or do you feel comfortable with the depth you have now?
Yeah, who knows what's going on with the house settlement and the courts and all that. And you're obviously looking at possible roster limits that could be coming through, so you got to make preparations for that. We're still limited to 85 scholarships, and so we got to maneuver that a little bit. But we're also going to make sure we're putting our program and our team in the best situation to win football games next fall, and that's at every single position. Every single position is up for competition, as we spoke about last week. Every position gets evaluated daily, and we got to make sure we have enough guys to go win football games next fall, but also developing guys that a year from now can step into those same roles.
Just talk about how it went out there today. Second scrimmage, I guess, before the spring game. How did it feel?
It felt great today. The defense come out. We had a rough patch this past week in practice. We had to bring a lot more energy, and I felt like today we all did that. So, and it was very exciting today.
Similar defense that you've been practicing playing under a new coordinator. How has that changed things for you?
We're still doing the same thing. We're violent attacking. We're reading the hips, we're reading our keys, and that makes us more explosive on defense. So, new defense coordinator or not, we're still going to be the same defense we were last year.
What specifically does Coach Aldridge kind of add to this defense?
Liability. He has a lot of liability. You got to hold yourself accountable, and if you don't, it shows on the field. So you got to have it right in your mind.
Go ahead, Jim.
How much did you learn from guys like Eli and Deontay, and how's that helped you kind of?
I've learned a lot. Coming in from a transfer from Navy, I've learned so much from them. The little technique and details that they've given me, and with Tesh helping me along that way as well. Those guys have not only helped me, but they've helped me to give to other players and the younger guys coming up. So they've helped me not only become a leader, but a good football player as well.
What do you think being a leader on this defense looks like as you kind of head into the season?
Just holding yourself accountable. That's how I view a leader. You want that guy to stand up, and you need him on a fourth down stop. And I trust a lot of people on defense right now that anyone out there, 2s, 3s, 4s, can go out there and do it.
What's it like having Coach Tesh on a day-to-day basis?
Oh, he's a crowd. I tell you that, old Southern jockey. That's what he is. Yeah, I love it. And that's a big reason why I think we all, as the D line, have stayed tight together. He's still got the Southern draw to him, and we respect all of that.
You and Zion specifically, y'all put a lot of work here. It kind of seems like your time is now. So you can just speak to that. The patience you've had, but also the work we put in.
Yeah, so me and Zion, this is his fourth year. This is his senior year. This is my junior year. We've kind of stuck it along because of Tesh. We've learned a lot from him, and some of the older guys have taught us, just ride it out. And I had full faith in Tesh, and so did Zion. So we both agreed that we were going to stay, and when our time was coming, we were going to get our shot. We were going to prove it.
What's the week leading up to the spring game like in the locker room? Is there a lot of
absolutely a lot of trash talking. But other than the trash talking, it's more of just messing around with people. Just getting in their head, and like I know Julian Davis does it a lot. He'll just come up to you and scream in your face. So it's a very controlled environment, and we love it.
What's it like being a local kid that's kind of developed in this program and now a leader?
It's kind of a dream. Watching Holt and CJ, they kind of paved the way for this. But it's definitely I like it a lot because I get to stay at home, get to see my parents a lot, and my girlfriend. So I like it. I definitely like it.
Gotta put that girlfriend.
Yeah.
Bryce, you played all over now, working some at the center. Just talk about that, transition back to snapping the ball.
It's definitely a little harder because I haven't been snapping that much. I was originally a guard, then moved to tackle, but I think center is a little bit easier for me because I kind of like getting into people. I don't like having all that space. So I think it's fairly easier for me because I get to block people more, be more aggressive.
Is that your nice way of saying you get to hold a little more on the inside and not get
yeah, definitely. Keep my hands, a little bit. I can keep them tight, but not as tight because, they are really watching me.
Is there more responsibility as a center because you're calling out the protections?
Yeah,
that kind of thing?
I definitely think so because, I got to make sure everybody knows where they're going, what linebacker to look at. It's definitely a little more on the mind, but physically it's not as hard as I would say as all the other positions.
How important is communication at that position?
Very important. You got to make sure that everybody has the same spot because it's either one spot or everybody's messed up. So we can't have two different spots. Got everybody going different places.
Obviously, you got to communicate with the other linemen, as you mentioned, but also, you and the quarterback have to have a lot of communication, even maybe if it's not always verbal. How are you just building the chemistry with whoever's behind you back there?
So me and Caden, I kind of have a good relationship off the field. We hang out all the time. Me, Caden, and like Carson, we kind of, try to stay in the mix with each other. Me and Raheem got in together, so me and him have a good communication as well. I feel like all the quarterbacks do a good job trying to, make sure that the O-line is straight before they're going in, just making any calls. So I think we all have a good connection with them.
Is it all tougher that Caden isn't taking a lot of live reps right now?
It's a little tougher, but Raheem is doing a really good job coming in. I think he's been a lot more focused this year and getting the offense down. So I think we'd be pretty good with whoever's back there. But Kane definitely, would love to have him in there.
He's had so much of the reps this spring. Raheem has. How have you kind of seen him grow, especially with Jake's absence?
I think Raheem, he's becoming more of a leader. I think off the field he's gotten a lot better, just making sure his life is aligned. So I think he's doing really good. I love the steps he's taking. He's becoming a leader in the locker room and on the field.
How much are you snapping outside of practice?
Well, Coach JDB has been trying to get me to make sure my snaps are really good. Before practice, he'll get me in with Caden, snap a little bit, and then after practice, I'll snap a little bit, depending on if my snaps were bad that day or not. So it just depends on how my day was.
And coming here a few years ago as a local guy, developing to this point, like what's kind of made you want to stick it out at ECU?
This is just home for me. I moved here when I was 3. Been here, been a fan, like season tickets since like 2011, watching everybody come in and out of here. So I feel a bond here. Feel like this is my home, and I just love it here. My parents, everybody was around. So,
how excited are you just for the spring game and get to show off everything you've been working on?
I'm very excited. My last spring game wasn't the best, so I'm ready to get back on some of those people that were kind of bullying me last year. But I'm excited. I think the teams are going to be good. I think we're going to have good energy there, good intensity. Hopefully the fans enjoy it. So.